Hey everybody, it's been a long break. We are still gonna do math, however. We will do assignment 35, daily math review, number 1. And first thing you do is write what you see. Negative 12 minus negative 37. First thing you guys should think of is that it's negative numbers, and whenever we're subtracting with negative numbers, we add the opposite of the second integer. So let's go ahead and do that, add the opposite. So we do nothing to the first integer, and we add the opposite of the second integer. Next thing we need to look at is which one do you have more of? Do you have more positives or negatives? And right off the bat, you can tell that you have more more positives, 37. So we're going to take 37 and subtract the 12. 37 minus 12 is 25. Then again, you have to look back up to the 37 and say we have more positive, so our answer is going to be positive. So circle your answer. All right, number 2. First thing you need to do again is write what you see. This is going to be an order of operation problem. So off to the side, we want to write PEMDAS. And look to see, are there any parentheses? No. Exponents? Yes. So we're first going to do 4 to the third, which is 4 times 4 times 4. Now if you can't do it in your head, you'd have to do it off to the side, but it is 64. The next thing we look at, or we actually rewrite the rest of it. Next thing, we're done with the exponents and we have multiplication. So we're going to do the multiplication, which is 1 times 2, which is 2, and then we rewrite the rest of the problem. We're done with multiplication. There's no division. There's addition and subtraction. So we're going to go left to right. 64 plus 8 is 72. 72 minus 2 is 70. And that is your answer. Number 3, it's asking for the GCF and the LCM of these 3 numbers. Now I'm going to show you guys the GCF is very simple, of 14, 20, and 40. They have 2 in common. The 2 goes into 14 7 times, goes into 20 10 times, and 40 20 times. Now this is where we have to look at the numbers. For GCF, they all have to have something in common, and they do not. So what we can tell right off the bat is, or right now, is that the GCF is going to be 2. So I circled the 2. Now here's a trick that I've taught my honors class, but not my non-honors. With LCM, and you're working with 3 numbers, if any 2 numbers have something in common, you can continue your clatter. We know our GCF is 2. We stopped there. We circled 2. But our LCM, we're not going to multiply all these 4 numbers. We can continue working. And this is what we do. I call it the freeze technique. So the 10 and the 20 have a 2 in common. The 7 has nothing in common with those because it's prime. So I circle the 7 and bring it down. And then I'm going to use 2 for the 10 and the 20. Makes 10 the 5 and 20 the 10. Now, once again, we still have two numbers that have something in common. That's the 5 and the 10. They have a 5 in common. So we're going to freeze the 7 again. Bring it down. And then take a 5 out. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now, the 7, the 1, and the 2, we don't have anything in common. So, what we're going to do is circle all of them, and this will give us, and then we'll multiply them, and this will give us our LCM. Include the 2 that we use for the GCF. That is part of the LCM. You multiply 2 times 2 times 5 is 20. 20 times 7 is 140. 140 times 1 is 140, and 140 times 2 is 280. So there's your LCM. This is called the freeze technique for the LCM. Number 4. First, need to write what you see. Write the equation, 42 plus negative 76. Well, we need to look at these two numbers. Oops. We need to look at these two numbers just like we did with the subtraction of integers. We need to figure out which one do you have more of. We don't need to add the opposite of the second integer because it's already addition. We just need to identify what do we have more of. We have more negatives, so we're going to start with the 76 or negative 76 on top. We know the answer is going to be negative. We need to find the difference of the two. We know our answer is going to be negative. I just put a negative right away. I take my 76 and subtract 42 to find the difference. And that gives me 34. Well, I have to look back at the problem again, and I remember it was negative was going to be the answer because you have more negatives, or you owe someone more money than you have. So your answer is negative 34. Number 5. Write what you see, the equation. We're going to do a fraction equation with variables. So the first thing we need to do is look at 5/7 m is equal to 35. Well, 5 over 7 next to an m means multiplication. We need to get m by itself, so we do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. We're going to divide by 5/7. 5/7 divided by 5/7 turns into 1. We have m by itself now. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Now look where I put the division on this other side. Put it right next to it. 35 divided by 5/7. And put a box around it too because I'm going to rewrite it. What I have to do is make that 35 into an improper fraction. But I'm also going to multiply the reciprocal. I'm going to do both steps this time at the same time. So 35 over 1, we're going to multiply instead of divide. And when we multiply the reciprocal, 7 over 5. If you look at the 35 and the 5, they have a 5 in common. So you're going to simplify. The 5 is going to be divided by 5. The 35 is going to be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 35 divided by 5 is 7. Circle them, multiply across. The 1 and the 7 don't have anything in common. So it's going to be 14 over 1 and 14 over 1 is equal to 14. So in the end, m is equal to 14. And that is Daily Math Review, assignment 35.